Good evening. How is everybody doing? Let's get into it. So, we've been talking the last day or so about the lady who was unalived in Minnesota, and we're going to continue to talk about that with some other information because they are looking into Donald Trump possibly hiring January 6th Capitol rioters. Now, they're seeing a pattern with a lot of these ICE agents, and they're trying to launch this investigation into these January 6th Capitol rioters. Now, let's kind of get into it. We know the police don't come with a mask and their face is not covered, but there is something odd with these ICE officials. They continue to pretty much cover up their face. So people are starting to think that Donald Trump could have hired these January 6th Capitol rioters to be ICE agents. So they are, in fact, looking into that as we speak. And we're going to get into that. Now, what I want to start off with is something that Donald Trump put out on Truth Social. Now, keep in mind, although Donald Trump is a dummy, you should know by now that Donald Trump is dumb. He still is the president of the United States of America. And with that, this man does have a responsibility. And with him, being reckless with his responsibility, it is in fact an issue. And we're going to get into some things that he's doing on his Truth Social. Just give me a second here, and I gotta update something here. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. So we're gonna get into something that he's posted here on his Truth Social. Just give me a moment. I'm trying to update something here. Right, just give me a few more seconds here. Trying to update something. All right, thanks for y'all patience. I'm almost done. Just gotta make another update here. Okay, thanks for your patience. Okay, let me share my screen with you all here because we're going to get into what Donald Trump is posting on Truth Social. Okay, because at the end of the day, Donald Trump still is the president and he should have some kind of decorum, which we know is almost, impossible for a man that does the type of things that Donald Trump do. Now, somebody put it in the chat. So just read what he put in the chat. Yeah, that's the type of person Donald Trump is. So this is what the alleged leader of the country, because to be honest, is Donald Trump even running a country? Something doesn't add up. Here is what he has to say. Do the people of Minnesota really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers, and addicts, rapists, violent, released, and escaped? This guy can't even write. Wait a minute. Let me start over. This is too much. Do the people of Minnesota, he can't even write a sentence, really want to live in a community in which there are thousands of already convicted murderers, drug dealers, and addicts, rapists, violent, released, and escaped prisoners? Yeah, Donald Trump should probably take a writing class. Dangerous people from foreign mental institutions. What? What does that mean? Donald Trump needs to be in a mental institution. And Donald Trump is talking about convicted people, and he has like 36 felonies. Okay. From foreign mental institutions and an insane asylums. Do he even know what an insane asylum is? And other deadly criminals? What is a deadly criminal? Too dangerous. He doesn't even know how to use TO, TOO, or TWO. Okay. Too dangerous to even mention. All the patriots of ICE want to do, all the patriots of ICE want to do, I don't know what that means, is remove them from your neighborhood and send them back to the prisons and the mental institutions from which they came. Most in foreign countries who illegally enter the USA through Sleepy Joe. Through Sleepy Joe Biden's horrible open border policy. Every place we go, crime comes down. In Chicago, despite a weak and incompetent governor and mayor fighting us all the way, a big improvement was made. Thousands of criminals were removed. Minnesota Democrats love the unrest. This is too much. Do I even need to read this? This is a mess. Whew. Okay. The unrest that unprofessional agitators cause because it gets the spotlight off of the $19 billion that was stolen by really bad and deranged people. Fear not, great people of Minnesota. The day of reckoning and retribution is coming. My goodness. This is what Donald Trump had to say. After a woman lost her life, nothing to the tune of nothing. This is what the president is putting on Truth Social. He can't write. He's borderline illiterate, can't write an adequate sentence to save his life. But this is what he puts on his Truth Social for the MAGA nuts to go crazy. No accountability here. So none, no accountability there. And just what you put in the chat, a pedo president. Yeah, absolutely. So Donald Trump takes no accountability. Now, one thing that you guys should know is Donald Trump is not taking any accountability, but this is what you should know, that they are going to send hundreds, and I mean hundreds and into the thousands, more federal agents to the state of Minnesota. Because as you guys know, Donald Trump will get you back if you do something he doesn't like. So at this moment, people are very upset because a woman lost her life and no one is actually taking accountability. Now, I get, she was blocking whatever, but still, even with this lady blocking whatever she was blocking, that is not necessary to take someone's life and then feel justified because you say, oh, that, they were blocking stuff. And to the tune, you just start making up shit and say that the ICE officer was, in danger. And also, guys, I don't know if you watched my last video, but that ICE officer, they've raised almost $700,000 for this man. So just imagine, you go to work, you get to commit a crime, and then you get to have $700. You get to have your face covered. So this is all, it's just not good for us as Americans. This don't seem like America. Now, what they're talking about is that they're going to send more agents to Minnesota.
They'll arrive. There'll be hundreds more in order to allow our ICE and our Border Patrol individuals that are working in Minneapolis to do so safely.
The Department of Homeland Security, as you heard, sending more ICE agents here to Minnesota. Meanwhile, here's a live look at the Whipple Federal Building where more barriers are being put up this morning following days of escalating tensions between ICE agents and anti-ICE protesters. That location houses the Federal Immigration Court and is being used as ICE headquarters, their staging area during the government's immigration crackdown here in Minnesota.
And it comes after a weekend full of ICE activity across the Twin Cities.
Our Bill Keller is live. He's in St. Paul right now with a look at how this is affecting our area. Bill, good morning.
Oh, good morning. By most accounts, there are currently more federal agents in the Twin Cities than there are police officers in Minneapolis and St. Paul combined. And now the Department of Homeland Security, as you heard, says more are on the way. Secretary Kristi Noem says that additional ICE agents started arriving yesterday. More expected to arrive today. DHS has not given specific numbers about how many people and how many more agents are coming to Minnesota, but We know more than 2,000 are already on the ground. Earlier this month, DHS reportedly sent 1,500 ICE agents and 600 Homeland Security investigators to our state. While much of the enforcement has been focused on Minneapolis, ICE agents have also been very active across the Twin Cities. In fact, take a look at this video shared with Fox 9. It shows ICE detaining a man at a gas station. This is in St. Paul, not Minneapolis. And you can see those agents carrying him away by his arms and legs, and you can hear the bystanders protesting his detainment.
I seen some videos of them taking him by all fours, a U.S. citizen that was born here in St. Paul, Minnesota, for exercising his rights, recording ICE on a private property, and they took him. They grabbed him by all fours like he was a fucking animal, and they took him. So, excuse me.
Wait a minute. We've been saying this. Oh, they're taking away United States citizens? Okay, wait a minute. Is that what I heard? But I thought Donald Trump said that they were removing the illegal immigrants that were doing bad things in the country. Y'all need to wake up. These people are arresting and locking up citizens. I know y'all have heard this before. Now you're saying everybody is making this up. You are locking up people for recording. You can record the police. You can record. You're out in open. They can record. So you are taking people, United States citizens. How does ICE take a person that is from the United States? Like, what is going on here? So ICE is being used to insert fear in people and for Donald Trump to try to weaponize his bull crap regime. Wake up, people. Wake up.
My language. But again, born and raised here for recording, exercising his rights. Excuse my language one more time. That's bull.
Yeah, Fox 9 reached out to DHS to learn more about this specific incident, but we have not heard back. In response to these ramped up ICE enforcements, city leaders are encouraging people to know their rights, posting information online and through social media. The city of St. Paul is reminding residents that ICE cannot enter your home without a warrant, and it must be signed by a judge, and it must include your correct name and address. An administrative warrant is not enough, and if there is no valid signed judicial warrant, you do have the right to keep your door closed. Minneapolis has been sharing similar information. Some city council members even warning residents that ICE has been targeting the Latino community, telling them to be extra vigilant while going to and from work, getting gas, running errands, or just dropping off your kids at school or daycare. Back to you.
All right, Bill. We know school is back in session in Minneapolis.
Now, and here is, part of Trump's regime. Imagine being somebody of another race, Mexican or whatever your race is, and to be told you better be careful out there because those are the people that he's swiping up trying to get out of here. The man he's a racist. I mean, it is what it is. If you have not figured out that Donald Trump is a racist, I don't know where you've been. Donald Trump is, in fact, a racist individual. This entire ICE operation is targeted to remove those people that's not white from here. Okay, that is just tell it what it is.
Minneapolis this morning after the district canceled classes last week following the death of Renee Good.
The ongoing ICE operations continue to impact our local schools. Chanu Her is in our live center showing us what students have planned today and how teachers are working to make sure students feel safe. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Tom and Kelly. We know students at different districts, they're telling us they plan to hold walkouts this week, including those students at Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis. Students there, they do plan to hold a protest today. Now, Roosevelt High School was where this chaotic scene you're seeing right here on the screen, it was all caught on camera. It all happened at Roosevelt High School last week. It happened on the same day an ICE agent shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis. Now, the Minneapolis Federation of Educators say agents deployed chemical irritants and detained a school staff member that day. That staff member was then later released. DHS said agents were trying to arrest someone who fled into the school zone, and then they claim the Roseville staffer assaulted an agent.
Fortunately, we're seeing some things being canceled or postponed or done a little bit differently. I know that for some of the schools that we've talked to, dismissal time. They're ensuring that more adults are present, as well as for those after school and activities like sports.
And that's the union president, Monica Byron, who also spoke on a drive.
When is this going to stop, y'all? This is getting a little bit out of hand. If it has not, well, it's out of hand, okay? You are literally at a school pursuing somebody. This is too much. Like, this is beyond, I don't know what the hell, I don't think this is beyond what Donald Trump was looking to do, but this is definitely getting out of hand. This is the United States of America. Like, we don't operate like this. Like, we're not pulling folks out of their beds. We're not running down and chasing people to get them out of the country. This is just not how the United States is ran, okay? Something has to be done about this. Now, like I said, in Minnesota, it's going to get worse because they're saying that they're going to, in fact, send out more troops. But let's get a view of what that looks like in Minnesota. So here is a picture, which is actually a video of a chaotic situation in Minnesota. So just imagine this being your area that you live in, and this is what the street looks like. You cannot even get through, and then they are standing in the middle of the street with all kinds of, GUNS. So let's just watch this really quickly here.
Popping up across Minneapolis. You can see they're banging on the door.
Outside of the car. 50, right? No, not 50-50, dog. You got a gun.
And also, guys, I just wanted to jump in and say this, and I've been saying this in all of my videos. The whistling is the signal to let people know that it's not safe. So if you guys have been following, ICE just going to the different states, this is something that they're doing to signal, be careful. I don't know if y'all saw that. I feel like I want to rewind it. Did you see the ICE agent ride past and spray that? Look at this. He's literally spraying stuff at the people as they stand there. This is crazy. Look at this right here. So I'm going to rewind it, but watch as the agent in this white van, he rides by and he's spraying this stuff at the protesters standing on the side. Look at that. Why is this happening? This is crazy. Man, this is crazy. Crazy. Imagine that being you going outside and this is your house. This is crazy. Donald Trump has to go. Like, I don't know what they need to enforce, but they need to get his nasty ass out of the White House. This is too much. Like, this is not what we are, this is not how the United States is supposed to be ran. Okay, this is not it. Now, what we do know is that Minnesota officials have an issue, which we can pretty much tell that with all of this happening in their city. And not only, I mean, there's been so many things that has happened. One of the things is they're suing him, obviously. There is a bunch of DOJ, 4 top DOJ officials that actually quit. And I'm going to tell you why. Because what Donald Trump and his crooked administration, they want these top DOJ employees to basically say that this ICE agent didn't do anything wrong. So they quit. So it's so much going on that it's just too much. And of course, I feel like Donald Trump is just trying to get people's mind off those damn Epstein files. So Minnesota is, pretty much going to pursue legal action, but we still got people that's losing their life. So it's a mess.
That the obvious targeting of Minnesota for our diversity, for our democracy, and our differences of opinion with the federal government is a violation of the Constitution and of federal law. We allege that the surge, reckless impact on our schools, on our local law enforcement is a violation of the 10th Amendment and the sovereign laws and powers of the Constitution grants to states. We allege that DHS's use of excessive and lethal force, their warrantless, racist arrests, their targeting of our courts, our churches, houses of worship, and schools are a violation of the Administrative Procedures Act on arbitrary and capricious federal actions. And we ask that the courts will end the surge of thousands of DHS agents into Minnesota. We ask the courts to end the DHS unlawful behavior in our state, the intimidation, the threats, the violence. We ask the courts to end the tactics on our places of worship, our schools, our courts, our marketplaces, our hospitals, and even funeral homes. The deployment of thousands of armed mass DHS agents to Minnesota has done our state serious harm. This is, in essence, a federal invasion of the Twin Cities and Minnesota, and it must stop. DHS agents have sown chaos and terror across the metropolitan area and in cities across the state of Minnesota. Schools have gone onto lockdown. Entire districts have had to cancel school for tens of thousands of students to ensure safety and offer online education because of the students and the parents' fear of coming into the school. Local businesses are struggling. Revenues are down. And some retail stores, daycares, and restaurants have actually closed because people are afraid to go out and to do their shopping, whether they're immigrants or whether they are citizens of many generations.
So how is this helping the country? If people are shutting down their businesses, even if they're not shutting it down, if they are closing their business, it means one thing, that they're not making money. This administration is not helping. He's making it worse. So if y'all not, seeing this, you better get into it. This administration is not helping us.
This surge has made us less safe. Thousands of poorly trained, aggressive, and armed agents of the state, of the federal government have rolled into our communities, overwhelmed our local police departments, and law enforcement agencies should be focused on our public safety, but instead, many are dealing with the aftermath of DHS agents' chaos and violence. I want to thank our law enforcement officers for doing a tremendous job under very difficult circumstances. Not the people, but the federal government. Minneapolis police have had to respond to more than 20 ICE-related incidents, like witnesses seeking people being pulled into unmarked vehicles by men in masks, or ICE abandoning vehicles on the street with people detained inside. This is an unlawful commandeering of police resources. In just 2 days, responding to the chaos ICE has cost the city $2 billion in law enforcement and overtime expenses. 2 days. And I wish I could stop there, but I can't, because these poorly trained, aggressive, and armed agents of the federal state have terrorized Minnesota with widespread unlawful conduct. They're making unconstitutional arrests and using excessive force. DHS agents have barged into restaurants asking to access secure areas. And when asked to present a warrant, which is required by law, they respond, "We don't need one." DHS agents have arrested peaceful bystanders. They have fired chemical irritants at people obeying lawful orders while exercising their First Amendment rights. They have even done so at some of our most sensitive places, like Roosevelt High School here in Minneapolis. They have detained law-abiding citizens, leaving them handcuffed for hours just because of the color of their skin, or what they're wearing, or they speak English with an accent. And on January 7th, 2026, a DHS agent shot and killed Renee Nicole Good, leaving her children without a mother and her 6-year-old son without either parent. This has to stop. So let's be clear. It never should have started. These agents have no good reason to be here. Minnesota's non-citizen immigrant population is just 1.5%, which is half the national average. Our state's percentage is lower than Utah, Texas, and Florida's, but none of those states have thousands of federal agents swarming their streets or harming their people. The administration says that they're focused on finding criminals. Worst of the worst, they say. But many of the people the DHS is arresting in Minnesota have no criminal history. That fits a pattern. In 2025, 93% of the people arrested by ICE had no violent criminal history, 65% had no criminal convictions at all, and randomly stopping people in the street because their skin color isn't the one that they expect or want isn't doing a thing to help public safety.
And you've been listening to authorities in Minnesota launching a lawsuit against the Trump administration over immigration enforcement actions in both the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, the Twin Cities. This comes after sources tell CNN that about 1,000 additional ICE officers are heading into the Twin Cities region. We're also learning that the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago have filed a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security, alleging that the agency has terrorized residents in organized bombardment, in their words. Let's bring in Sheriff Christopher Swanson. He's a Democratic candidate for governor in Michigan. We brought him in to speak about last week's deadly shooting of Renee Good by an ICE agent. And obviously, we want to now talk to him about this lawsuit. Sheriff, what is your reaction to the lawsuit in Minnesota against the Trump administration?
Yeah, what other option do they have? And they're trying to use the legal process, which is due process, which actually is the example that should be used that got us in this situation in the first place. If things were done fair and humane without cruelty, we wouldn't have the situation that we have. And unfortunately, I don't think this is the end of it.
Y'all know what? I don't think it's the end of it either, because how many times have Donald Trump in this dumb ass administration, they've been sued so many times, like while they have to go and sue this stupid administration, hopefully nobody else loses their lives, because this is ridiculous that the people of the United States are being treated like this. I mean, we're not a third world country.
Last week's ICE-involved shooting in Minneapolis, the shooting of Renee Good, tragic but predictable. You criticized the tactics that ICE used both before and after the shooting. I want you to take a listen to my interview, part of my interview with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem yesterday about the ICE officer who appeared to have fired 3 shots at Renee Good. Take a listen. What is the reason for the second and third shot through the window when he is out? He's not in the line of sight of the car.
This investigation will continue to unfold and more information will come forward. But until that comes, what I would appreciate is everybody sticking to the facts of the situation and recognize that this law enforcement officer took action based on his training to protect himself and the public.
Sheriff Swanson, is it relevant, the second and third shot, the first shot being through the front windshield, the second and third being through Renee Good's side window? Obviously, he's no longer in the path of the car.
You're spot on, Jake. The bottom left corner of the windshield was the first round, and then the 2 rounds that were punched in on the side of the window through the driver's side. The danger is no longer in front of you. It's cleared it to the side. And that's my criticism. And you know what? I think the bigger issue is you can be critical of law enforcement actions and still support the police. I am the police. But that situation and that shooting, there was no de-escalation. It went from verbal orders to deadly force in 3 seconds to somebody who was unarmed, turning away at 2 miles an hour with people surrounding the vehicle with whistles.
Presumably, at least in part because of this controversy, over the weekend, ICE put out publicly a list of some of the criminal undocumented immigrants they have arrested in Minnesota. Some of them have been convicted of sexual assault, of children, rape, domestic violence, homicide. So they are getting criminals. They are getting people off the streets who shouldn't be on the streets. What did you make of that?
I agree with that. If people are here undocumented and committing crimes against American citizens, just like we did in our ghost stings that 2 individuals from Honduras come here to have sex with an underage kid.
Okay, guys, we're going to flip gears here because I just received the notification that, y'all, this is a little funny. So Trump appears to say F you and flip the bird after a factory worker yells pedo protector. Y'all, let's watch this video. Let's kind of switch gears here. So there's a video now going around on social media of Trump flipping the bird to somebody because they called him old pedo. Wait. You see? Wait a minute. Oh my goodness. This man is so tactless. This dude gets no respect. No respect whatsoever. So let's see here. So we talked about more federal agents are being sent to Minnesota. And then we talked about Minnesota is obviously, they're suing the Donald Trump administration. What else am I missing here? Oh, let's get into the federal workers that decided to quit. Let's get into that. So federal prosecutors quit amid Trump administration pressure to focus Minnesota shooting probe on victims. So what has happened is 3 top prosecutors has just resigned. The reason that they decided to resign is because Donald Trump want them to paint a narrative basically saying that the victim was the reason, so basically he wants them to lie and focus this entire investigation on her and basically say that, she's responsible pretty much for her own death. So let me get into that. Okay. It says prosecutors quit. The first assistant U.S. attorney in Minneapolis, and at least 5 other lawyers resigned amid the White House pressure to focus the probe into the Immigrations and Customs Enforcement involved shooting last week of a mother on her actions and those of the people around her. So basically, it looks like they're trying to do a scheme here and make it seem like it was this woman's fault instead of just conducting a regular investigation. Okay. So we have the first assistant U.S. attorney in Minnesota has quit, including at least 5 other lawyers resigned they said they ain't doing it. Okay. They're not doing it. Everybody, I mean, ain't like Donald Trump with no damn morals and no dignity. Now, more feds. We talked about that. They're sending about 1,000 more border protection agents to Minnesota. So what else? We covered that. So Donald Trump and his administration wants the federal prosecutors to pretty much make it seem like this mother was to blame. Now, who are some of the prosecutors who resigned from Minnesota's U.S. Attorney's Office? So they have at least six prosecutors in a U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota resigned Tuesday after pressure from the Trump administration to focus the probe of the ICE shooter on Renee Good and on her actions and the people around her, including her widow and others who may have been involved in ICE protests, according to a person briefed on the matter. Harry Jacobs, Melinda Williams, two senior prosecutors in the office, are part of the group of Resignations, another source familiar with the matter told CNN. Jacobs has worked in the Minnesota's U.S. Attorney's Office since November 2018, according to his LinkedIn profile. One of his most prominent cases was against the nonprofit Feeding Our Future, which has come back to the public spotlight in the recent weeks with allegations of fraud in Minnesota. He handled that case alongside prosecutor Joseph Thompson, who also resigned from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota, according to a person briefed on the matter. Jacobs was also working on the federal case against Vance Bolter, who is accused of unaliving a top Minnesota Democrat lawmaker and her husband last year. Williams has served in the office since 2014 and previously worked as a prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia from 2005 to 2014. And this is according to the LinkedIn profile. New releases from the U.S. Attorney's Office show she worked on a case accusing two people of participating in an SEX trafficking conspiracy, with one defendant sentenced to 21 years in prison. Williams was one of the top prosecutors the Minnesota Police Department worked with to address violence and gang crime in the city. Now, Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara said in a statement earlier that day. Now, what do we know so far about the federal prosecutors who resigned? Well, we know that let's see if they're giving us, let me see here. Now, what they're saying is the resignations come after Trump administration obviously has put pressure on the prosecutors to pretty much focus the probe of the ICE officer shooting, and they want these prosecutors to blame Renee Good. This is not good, okay? This is not good. We're living in a Donald Trump era where everything is fraudulent and fake, and it is definitely a scheme. So let me just make sure y'all have not missed anything here. Covered that. Let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Like that. All right, let's get into this one right here. This is the last one. Let's get into, this is a witness here. This witness talks about the unaliving of Renee. Let's kind of get into this video.
Of the shooting, speaking out tonight, her name is Emily Heller. She lives on the street where the shooting happened, and she filmed video that we have here just now to share with you out front. It shows the chaos immediately after Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed by that ICE agent in Minneapolis hours ago. We're going to play it for you. I do want to warn you that it is graphic.
Can I go check a pulse? No, back up now. I'm a physician.
Hey, listen, we understand. We got EMS coming, and I get it. Just give us a second. We have medics on scene. We have our own medics.
Where are they? Where are they? How can I relax? You just killed my neighbor. You caught butter in the face. You killed my neighbor. How do you show up to work every day? How the do you do this every day? You're killing my neighbors. You're stealing my neighbors. What the man?
Emily Heller is out front now, who you heard there and filmed that in that horrifically traumatic moment. So, Emily, I know you live there. This is your street. This is your home. And you're inside your house. You hear all of this commotion. Everything is starting to happen. Okay, can you tell me what happened then? You hear everything. You come outside, and then what?
I hadn't even gotten dressed. I was making breakfast. I went out. I heard the commotion. I heard whistles, which is a common sign of ice is nearby. And I went out onto my front porch. I didn't even have shoes on. And within 60 seconds, everything had already gone down. But there was an ICE convoy that seemed to be stuck, and then there was a protester who was blocking traffic, so they couldn't progress. And she was totally peaceful, and ICE, it seemed completely unorganized. They didn't really know what they were doing. They were screaming at her to move, move, move. And then they approached her vehicle aggressively and tried to open her door. And then that's when she got spooked, and she reversed her vehicle to turn her wheels to try to escape. And that's when an ICE agent stepped in front of her vehicle and said, "Stop." And then, I mean, she was already moving, and then point blank shot her through her windshield in the face.
I can't imagine what it was to see that, Emily. The way that you are laying this out, though, I just want to repeat and make sure that I'm clear, and please correct me if I say anything wrong. You're saying that what you saw was disorganized ICE, but then when they tried to get her to stop, she got spooked. She reversed her car to turn her wheels to get away, and that was when the officer stepped in front.
They were telling her to leave. They were telling her to move, and then all of a sudden they seemed like they were trying to get her. So they were telling her to move, and then in a split second they were saying.
Now that's a good point, because this is a good interview, because what they said is they told her to move. Now, then they told her to stay. So how damn confusing is that? I mean, you say stay, you say move, but then you say you move, the person moved, and therefore you unalive them. Honestly, I believe that they were going to do it anyways. I just feel like they were going to do it anyway, because in one video, you have the agents on the side of her, but then you also have, I showed it earlier, you have another agent in front of her, and they're saying that he has his weapon out. Well, she hasn't even left, so she's still in the vehicle and she's still conversating with them. So I'm just like, why would he have his weapon out? I feel like they were going to do it anyway.
They were trying to get her out of the car, so it was like, she was trying to move. Once they were trying to get in her car, she was of course she wanted to leave at that point. They were extremely aggressive. Yeah,
she would have been scared, obviously. President Trump, as you know, posted a video saying that it's lucky the ICE agent was alive. And I just want to be clear, the ICE agent is walking afterwards, and we know that from anything that he had in the hospital, he's fine and he's out. But President Trump posted
stood there.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say about what he did afterwards.
Oh, he just stood there. The other ICE agents surrounded him. He was obviously spooked too. I mean, they seem like children. They seem like untrained people. And so that agent was obviously spooked because he had just killed someone. And it was very obvious to everyone who had witnessed it all that she would not make it. And so they kind of gathered around him, and then there was a gold SUV that came, and they put him in it and got him out of there because everyone knew he had murdered someone.
So President Trump says the woman was disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense. He shared a video of the incident from a different angle. What's your response to that version of events?
I mean, that's the only reason why I'm here. I don't think I'm the most articulate person. I don't think that I don't want to be here, but I knew that this would be twisted and it would be self-defense, and that's absolutely not what happened. But it's just my life is forever changed from having witnessed this, and I just can't let this narrative that it was self-defense go any further, because it's absolutely not what it was. And yeah, my neighborhood, my neighbors, we're all going to be pretty traumatized from this for a long time.
When in that video that you shared with us that I just played, the 34 seconds, you're obviously incredibly distraught, and there's a doctor next to you or near you. We can, hear him saying, I'm a physician, I can help. And they say, no, we have our own medics. But the doctor is there offering to administer CPR, standing right there. I don't want you to have to relive what you were looking at when the horror of her death, but how did agents respond to him? Was there a speed and a desperation in trying to get any sort of assistance to her? Because it didn't sound like that from what you gave us.
Yeah, they wouldn't let him near, and they said they had their own medics that were on their way, which it was, I mean, I don't know, it was at least 15 minutes before the.
Wow. Let the lady sit there for 15 minutes, didn't provide her CPR or anything. That's why I feel like they wanted to do this anyways, because where do you see a person? I mean, the bullet went in the woman's face. Like, you let her sit there and just die when you have somebody that's saying, I'm a doctor, I can help, but you don't even allow the doctor to go over there and help. Why?
The ambulance arrived, and then the ambulance couldn't even get through because the ICE agents had all abandoned their vehicles in the road. So the ambulance couldn't get through. So they parked at the end of the block, and about 5 paramedics came in and examined her for, I didn't see this, but they were with her for a few minutes, and then they carried her limp body away by her limbs, not even on a stretcher. Just carried her down to the end of the block where they could get a stretcher because they couldn't get through with their ambulance.
Emily, I appreciate your talking about this. I know it has to be incredibly difficult, and I think everyone understands why you're choosing to do it, to make sure people understand exactly what it is that you saw and documented, and I appreciate your being willing to do it.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, Joey, you heard what Emily had to say, and she said, I don't want to be here, but I'm here because I want everyone to know what I saw, and she's very clear about what she saw.
Listen, it's got to be a very traumatic experience. What I'm concerned about, though, is the nature of the investigation. Let's be clear that there are going to be, of course, local officials investigating this, Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, in addition to the federal government. In the event that there's anything federal here, of course, then Trump would have the power to pardon. We're not there yet. There's not been a prosecution. There's not been an indictment. There's not been a criminal charge levied. However, in the event that it goes that way, I think it's very important that the community gets a sense of fairness, a sense of justice. And in the event that it is federal, of course, there would be, according to Trump and what he put out already, he's judged that there's nothing to see here. And so if the locals get it, what will they do? Will they move forward? And if they move forward, what will that look like? Would it look like a, actual prosecution? And what would be the prosecution here? Criminal negligence, intent? We'll see.
Gil, I'm curious. Emily was talking about, there's that physician, and I understand that in the moment like this, right? There's the most important thing about this country is a country of rules and laws, and if they're not upheld in one horrific part of something, doesn't mean that they should also be dropped in another. In that context, even with that said, though, when the physician says, I can help, and he's right there, and maybe at that point it appears to everybody she's dead, but to take 15 minutes for someone to get there and to not allow someone who might be able to administer CPR, that just on a human level, that's really hard to hear.
Well, if you do have paramedics that are trained, and I believe ICE and CBP, Customs and Border Protection, has people that are trained, and they're right there, that can be a help. I think you're always going to be, as a law enforcement officer, maybe a little suspicious of the person that said, "Wait, I'm a doctor, I'm a physician, I can help," etc. I mean, I think they could have been handled.
Well, ICE is trained, as he said, but nobody provided this woman no kind of assistance. That's why I feel like that they wanted to do this to her. Like, I feel like they were irritated because they felt like she was agitating them and they just didn't care. It's clear they wanted to do what they did to her.
Much better, but if they did have the paramedics there immediately on the scene, they're going to give her treatment.
Right. Of course, they had said it was 15 minutes, but the trauma there that you heard, the trauma.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
For the
struck
community,
me.
yeah.
There's two things that struck me. First of all, just how horrific to witness this on your street, right? And then the second thing is her characterization of the behavior of the ICE agents, the lack of training, the disorganization, the way that they were talking to her, giving her contradicting, advice. So I think there's a lot to unpack here.
Ooh, guys, it is a lot to pack. So this is a story that is developing, and we'll see like what's going to happen tomorrow. I'll review some stuff for y'all. I will see you guys tomorrow at 10:30 a.m.